Welcome everyone, it's Gina here from Expanding Consciousness, and I have Lyneece with me here presenting the Japanese pronunciation of the Five Reiki Principles, as well as our three key historical players within Usui Reiki. So welcome Lyneece. Now Lyneece, you have been practicing Reiki for more than 20 years. You've been a Reiki master teacher for over 20 years. You've studied with two different teachers, and you've spent many decades also studying Japanese, and you're studying Te Reo Māori as well, which has relevance, which you might be able to explain to us why Japanese and Te Reo Māori have, a connection.
Mhm.
Let us know a little bit about yourself, and then I'll leave it up to you to take it away.
Sure. Well, I'm tangata whenua. I live in Whirling Manawatu. I have takiwatanga or autistic children, so that's a connection that Gina and I have, which is quite lovely. Yes, I have been a Reiki master teacher for quite a long time, and that was driven by my passion for the Japanese culture, which I picked up from my best friend, who I became friends with in high school, so many, many years ago, and we're still in contact now and very, very good friends. Um, so the reason behind this kaupapa today was because I noticed that when I was teaching or assisting Gina teaching, there was a call for some um, lessons around pronunciation and to assist in from a Western perspective, because obviously we cannot approximate true Japanese accent, but we can do our best to give it, a good go. Um, with regards to the te reo um, versus Japanese, there are many correlations where they line up in terms of the pronunciation, also because they're both tangata whenua in their own whenua, that sort of like presents another kind of connection where they are also caretakers of their land like we are of ours. So coming from that kind of perspective as well, with Kao Sui, who also was very much a kaitiaki, someone who cared for his people and his land. Yeah, there's lots of little connections that can be made there. So yeah, it's just been something that has been sort of in the forefront of my journey for many, many years, and I'm quite happy to and pleased to be able to share that with you guys today, and whoever's happens to be watching the video later.
Thanks, Lyneece. And do you think that the vowel sounds are quite similar between the Japanese and Te Reo Māori?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the good thing about Japanese pronunciation is it changes even less than it does in Te Reo Māori. With Te Reo Māori, you can extend the length of the vowel. The vowel itself doesn't sound different, but it extends, it's longer. Whereas with Japanese, it's quite short and clipped, and it never changes. So there's no confusion. Once you've got the vowel, that's it. That's the vowel. You don't need to worry about doing anything else. But in terms of the way it sounds, yes, it sounds like very similar to Te Reo Māori, which means that New Zealanders who speak Te Reo Māori are very well placed to be able to speak very good accented Japanese.
Great, thank you. And what is the first word we're going to pronounce tonight?
Well, firstly, I thought what we might do is we might start with the vowels, just so that when we do pronounce our first word, we're a bit sort of more on point with the vowel system. So if you do know Te Reo Māori, this is not going to be news to you, but for those tauiwi that don't necessarily know it, I'm hoping that this will give you some insight in how to pronounce these words correctly. So I'll just change to the next slide, hopefully, if it works. Okay. So these are the vowels. They're also written in the Japanese font called hiragana, which is the one that is used for all Japanese words that are of Japanese origin. Um, and there's four different systems. One is letters, which is the ones underneath, and then there's this one hiragana. There's katakana, which is for foreign words, and kanji, which is like multiple sound words, and it's come from China so originally. So some of the ones that we will be pronouncing will be in kanji, which is the big pictorial pictures, which are quite fascinating. If you dial them back, you can work out where they came from. and what they were trying to draw, which is quite cool. But for this particular example, we're going to go through the vowel sounds. So in Japanese, they are pronounced in this order. So we wouldn't normally say A, I, U, E, O, would we? We'd say A, E, I, O, U. In Japanese, in English, sorry, Te Reo Māori, we'd say A, U, E, E, I, O. Sorry, I'm looking at it. It's in the wrong order. So it's a bit confusing. So anyway, the first one, the A sound or the A sound as in up. So if you say that, up, up, up. The I sound is E as in he, E. The U sound is U as in do, U. The E sound is E as in egg. And the O sound is O. I don't know what I've written underneath there because I'm underneath all the people. Oh, as in hot. Couldn't see it. So it sounds like this. A, E, U, E, O. It's sometimes helpful to over enunciate with your mouth, make your mouth bigger, just to make sure you get that correct sound in your mouth. So I'll do that one more time. A, E, U, E, O. It's pretty simple and they don't change. So you'll be quite happy to know that once you've got them, that's it. The next one we're going to look at would be this one. Now, even though it says that it's got an R in the front, in Japanese, the way they pronounce it, it's kind of like a soft L. It's not quite a full roll like you would get in Te Reo Māori. Obviously, I've accentuated that, but it's more of a soft one. So it's more like just quite soft. So it actually sounds more like Reiki with an L than Reiki or Reiki. So you say it with a slight L sound. Re, re, re. You can flick your tongue slightly up against the palate. Re, re, re. And obviously the EI part of it sounds like A in 8. Re, re. And then the next one's pretty simple. Ki. We've already known that one because chi's got the same sort of I sound, and that's very much relative of ki. So re, ki is the way that you pronounce that. So Gina and I are Reiki master teachers. Or sensei. Okay. Now, to the man himself. This one is quite a difficult one sometimes for Western people to pronounce. And also you may see it flipped around. So instead of saying Usui Mikao, you might see Mikao Usui. Now, his first name is Usui. So even though when you hear him talked about and we say Mikao Usui or Dr. Mikao Usui, we're saying it correctly. We say the last name first and then the first name. However, to say this particular word, you start with a U, Su, as in I'm going to like go and see Sue after the coffee or something, and then E, as in key. So Usui, but you blend the Su with the E, Usui. So have a go at that, Usui. Awesome, great. Then the next one is a little bit more difficult because we've got a multiple vowel at the end as well, just like in Usui. So we're going to blend that one together as well. So we start off with me, as in me, ka, as in driving the car, and ow, as in power, so or ow, me cow. So that's pretty simple, really, when you blend those two together. It's a bit easier than sweet. So his name is Usui Mikao or Mikao Usui. And have a go at that, Mikao Usui. Well done, awesome. So we'll move on from there. This one's getting a little bit harder. When we have our consonants that are two consonants together, like the C and the H, that's just like ch for chocolate. So that's not too difficult. Some of them get a bit harder, but that one's pretty good. So the first syllable, if you like, of that word is chu, as in chew, but we shorten that. We're not making a chew sound, it's just chew. And then G as in jeep, and ro with that softened L sound, ro, chujiro. So have a go at that, chujiro. Maybe break it down, chujiro, chujiro. The next one is a little bit easier. So you got ha as in hut, ya as in yap, and she as in she, hayashi. Have another crack at it, hayashi. Awesome. So his whole name is Chujiro Hayashi. And in the same way, his name is actually Hayashi. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one.
And Lyneece, is it kanji that we're seeing that written next to?
Yeah, that's right. So those are actually the way that you would write their names. And because they're Japanese, they actually have kanji attached to their names rather than what we would have. We would have some very angular sort of symbols because we're not Japanese. You can also write them in the style of the vowels that we saw before, which is hiragana. It's a bit more fluid, but these are pictographs. So they're actually based on pictures. There's one that's going to come up that looks like a kind of a little triangle shape, and that's actually based on a person striding, and it means hito, which is person, which is quite fantastic. I quite like that. And with our Reiki symbols as well, there's a lot of little bits in there that sort of indicate that they've like diverged from kanji and they've blended it together to make those symbols. But yes, those are really, really lovely. But you have to be Japanese to have those kind of symbols for your name. But yeah, so the ones next to Chujiro, that's broken up, Chujiro, and Hayashi, that's one whole symbol for that whole name, Hayashi, which probably indicates an older name, I would think. Now, this lovely lady who brought our Reiki to the Western world, she always reminds me of my grandmother, my kuya. She's quite lovely. Her name is pretty simple, Hawaya. So ha as in hut, wa as in why, and yot as in yon. Hawaya. Give that one a go. Hawaya. Awesome. Then her surname is Takata. Ta as in tuck, ka as in cup, and ta again. Takata. So you might notice it's quite clipped in the way that you would say the vowels. So Hawaya, Takata, they don't tend to extend it. In Te Reo Māori, you could add another vowel in there and that would extend that sound. So you could make it go ha, wa, yo, but in Japanese, that's not anything we need to worry about. We just clip it right off. Hawayo takata. Cool. Okay, now we're getting into it. This is quite involved. Precept should be fairly easy for any Māori to say. Gokai.
Okay.
Okay, very cool. So you can see that there are two different kinds of symbols above. We'll just have a quick word about that. So sometimes you see kanji mixed with other symbols. And the one in the middle that looks like a sort of a roll is actually hiragana, and it means no. So we already know that that's in that word. So we don't need to recite this particular sentence when we're doing the 5 principles or the 5 precepts. It's just that happens to be at the top of them, and it's letting us know what it means. So the secret method to invite happiness starts off as shofuku no hiho. Shofuku no hiho. So sho is in shop, fu, ku, no as in not, and ho as in hop. Shofuku no hiho. Okay. Excellent. Good job. So that's the first one. But again, we don't need to remember this one necessarily. It's just for background. The next one, this one brings up another sort of thing that is quite common, and you'll hear it when in spoken Japanese quite a lot. Even though it says man, it's actually pronounced mum. They sort of close their mouth on their end. So mum byo no rei yaku. Mum byo no rei yaku. So it's actually mum, and then byo is blend together. Yo, like in yog, byo, and no, rei, again with that softened R, L sound. Ya, like yup, and ku, as in what the pigeon sounds like. Mum byo no rei yaku. Give that one a go. Bit of a mouthful, but it sounds really nice when you get it going. Mambyo no re yaku. So you see this by or you got that sort of combination quite a bit in Japanese, where they've put a consonant with the y next to it. It might be bya, bi, byot, byet, byet. but they'll have like a consonant and then Y. So you just blend them together. It starts with that consonant sound, which except for the N, they all sound pretty much like what we would normally expect them to sound like in English. So yeah, but you would blend it together like bio, cho. So you're making that first sound and you're blending it with the yo sound. So mam yo no re yaku. They're a miraculous remedy and elixir for all diseases. Now we're getting into the business of the actual 5 precepts. Now we'll go through each one individually, and then at the end we'll say it properly how you're supposed to say it. We'll try and say it 3 times in a row, and then we'll be done for the night. That'll be cool. Okay, so this is again another one of those combinations of a consonant with a Y. So it's kyo. So you say the k sound first, and then you put yo directly after it. You blend it together. Kyo, dake. All I could come up with was duck egg. I'm sorry. Kyo dake wa, like wump. Kyo dake wa. Give that one a go. Kapai. Awesome. Brilliant. Just for today. So some people also insert that before each of the precepts. So they may start off kyo dake wa and then the next precept, kyo dake wa again, to make full sentences, but it's not necessary. It's just something that you might want to do if you want to practice. Okay. There's 2 different ways I've heard this one said. I've put both of them on the slide. Okoruna is the one that apparently is on the actual memorial stone for Dr. Mikao Sui. But I've also heard it said ikaruna. So it's up to you which one you like the sound of better, okoruna or ikaruna. And it's again with that soft L sound rather than a really hard R. Okoruna or ikaruna, and that means do not anger. And I think it could actually be dialectal as to why there's 2 different versions. Like with Te Reo Māori, a lot of the words are dependent on where you come from, like maunga or maunga, both mean mountain, but it depends on where you are. I think this is the same sort of thing. Okoruna, ikaruna. So again, over accentuating the vowels is a good way of making sure you keep it like the same. The next one, do not worry. Again, with the N, it sounds more like a M because they close their mouth on the N. Shim, pai, sunna. The sunna, though, interestingly enough, does sound a bit like an N. Shin, pai, sunna. So shim, pai, as in what you would eat, but just a little bit more open in the mouth. Pai. Su and na. Shim, pai, sunna. Give that one a go. Excellent. Great. The next one, be grateful. Again, this is one of those ones they close their mouth on the sound. Kam sha shite. So the shite part is truncated. So they shorten that sheep part. They don't make it too long. So it's shite. It's kind of like a breath rather than a vowel sound. Shite. So kam sha shite. They really don't pronounce the I sound very much. Kan sha shite. Cool. Excellent. This one's another blendy one. So this is that G with the Y sound. So gyot, we don't hover on that G sound too long. Gyot or hageme. So they have the extension. So this is where you get that the extension of the vowel, but it's different to Te Reo Māori and even to English. So like in words like boot or kōrua, if you're speaking in Te Reo Māori, it's all quite smooth, right? But with Japanese, there's like a little hiccup in between. So gyo hageme, gyo hageme. Okay, so ha as in ha ha ha, ge like get, and me like meet. Gyo hageme. Work diligently. Very cool. More blendies. Okay. So this one, hito ni shintetsu ni. Hito, you see that little symbol up there? I don't know if you can see my cursor, but the little sort of a triangular shape, that's the one that's made after a person who's walking. So that means man, hito, or person. Hito ni shinsetsu ni, which is be kind to others. Hito ni shinsetsu again, with the closed mouth, I wrote N, but really it should be a shim. Shinsetsu ni. Hito ni shinsetsu ni. Cool. It's got quite a nice little rhythm to it too when you say it. Hito ni shinsetsu ni. You can get a bit meditative with it, bouncing up and down. All righty, you ready? Here we go. We're going to do all of it 3 times in a row. Deep breath in, whānau. Okay. I'll say it first and you repeat after me each line, just so that we've got something to go by. Ready? Kyo dake wa okoru na. Shinpai su na. Kancha shite. Gyo o hageme. Hito ni shinsetsu ni. Awesome. Do it again. Kyo dake wa okoru na. Shinpai su na. Kancha shite. Gyo o hageme. Hito ni shinsetsu ni. Let's see if we can do it one more time in gassho. That's how you say that one too, by the way. Gassho. Kyo dake wa okoru na. Shinpai su na. Kancha shite. Gyo o hageme. Hito ni shinsetsu ni. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. Well done. That's it. We've gotten through all of the level 1 stuff. Well done. Brilliant.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Lyneece.